This is CBS News Bay Area with Reed Cowan.
A lot of questions and a lot of criticism. After a tech executive was killed on a San Francisco street, we are digging into the facts and the perceptions about your safety in the city.
I find it premature and distasteful to try to fit this horrifying act of violence into a preconceived narrative.
So we're going to have that conversation. Good afternoon, I'm Reed Cowan. Today we continue talking about your concerns about crime and safety in San Francisco. All of this, of course, and we know this, international headline, the stabbing death of tech executive Bob Lee. Just 43 years old, the founder of Cash App and the former chief technology officer at Square. Most recently, he was an executive at MobileCoin, which is a cryptocurrency payment system. While Lee lived in the Bay Area for years, created many products here, he moved to Miami in the fall and was just back in San Francisco to visit friends and have some meetings. That's when tragedy struck. Around 2:30 Tuesday morning, Lee was stabbed in the East Cut neighborhood where he was staying. Afterward, we are told, security camera footage shows him crossing the street with his cell phone and then ultimately collapsing. He later died at a hospital. So far, police not giving any evidence out there, not commenting. They say this investigation is still in its early stages. We asked police how many police officers were there at the time of the stabbing. They have not responded. But police say they are committed to working toward an arrest and toward justice for Mr. Lee and his family.
We're going to be thoughtful about following the evidence, and we'll put out what we can put out as soon as we can.
So while Chief Scott and his peers follow the evidence, we are looking at the hard numbers. This is a look at crime in the area where this happened. In San Francisco PD's Southern District, which includes that East Cut neighborhood, robberies and assaults, they were up about 25% and 20% respectively. That's this year so far, and that is compared to last year. We're talking about larceny thefts, such as bike thefts. Those, and we know this, that makes headlines all the time. They are the most common crime in that district, but those numbers are down about 50% from last year. We know this case is bringing to light a lot of questions about crime and public safety and prosecution of criminals all throughout San Francisco. We've read your criticisms over how the city works to prevent crimes and enforce the law. One of those critical voices, current Twitter CEO Elon Musk, and here it is. He responded to news of the killing by taking a swipe at the city, writing, quote, "Violent crime in San Francisco is horrific." San Francisco's police commissioner, Kevin Benedicto, took issue with that comment, saying this at last night's commission meeting. Listen.
This was a tragedy and a crime, and it's under investigation. You heard it from the chief. Yet so much of the coverage in this short amount of time has been a significant amount of misrepresenting facts, of fear-mongering, and of trying to exploit this tragedy. We don't know all the facts. The department will update the public and the commission when we do. But I find it premature and distasteful to try to fit this horrifying act of violence into a preconceived narrative and use it to advance a political agenda.
So I saw that comment making the rounds on Twitter late last night. To his credit, San Francisco Police Commissioner Kevin Benedicto answered my direct message in Twitter. You're joining us live. Thank you for agreeing to have a conversation here at 3 o'clock. So tell me, what do you think that political motive is?
I mean, first and foremost, I wanted to express my sincere condolences to the Lee family and all the friends and loved ones of Mr. Lee. What happened was a tragedy, and any act of violence in our city is unacceptable. But what I took issue with in that comment is the immediate rush to speculation or to making broad statements, somehow drawing connections to things that are wholly speculative. This investigation is still ongoing. I think it's important that we focus on the tragic loss of life and the victim at the center of this, and not try to advance political agendas.
So yesterday at 3 o'clock, Supervisor Matt Dorsey was asked very directly, are we safe in San Francisco, those of us who live and work here, and are people who visit San Francisco safe? I asked him twice. He could not give me a clear yes. What do you say?
I think we are. I think we have serious problems in San Francisco, including public safety, as do all big cities in the U.S. and around the world. And I understand that any act of violence can provoke fear and anxiety in people, but ultimately, crime is including violent crime, is at historic lows in San Francisco. San Francisco is safe compared to many cities of its size around the country. And it's important to not give in to that fear and anxiety and allow it to feed false narratives.
So, what we're seeing down here on the ground, viewers, neighbors, people who share these streets alike, is kind of a divide. You have Supervisor Asha Safai, who is quoted as saying, obviously this plays into a narrative and the fears that we've been hearing for the last few years that San Francisco is not safe. How can those of us in the neighborhoods, walking the streets, whether it's day or night, have confidence that change will happen when we're starting to see a divide in how this particular tragedy is being interpreted?
I don't think there's a divide on the fact that this tragedy is unacceptable and that the perpetrators need to be brought to justice, and that we as a city and as a community need to make sure that we are safe. So I don't think there's a divide there, and I think that it can be scary on the ground. I know I do not want to minimize or trivialize the real fear and anxiety that's out there, but I do want to provide that helpful context that we are a safe city and a city that I'm proud to call my home.
One of your roles is police oversight, and something that's been raised, whether it was yesterday in our live broadcast or in previous days, is that it's really hard to attract police officers to want to work here. You've got a large roster of officers who are set for retirement in the coming months. How do you attract officers in this environment?
Absolutely. I think that recruitment is a significant challenge for the police department. It's also a challenge for law enforcement agencies across the country. And I think we need to be sure that we're doing everything we can to attract good talent. I know that the Board of Supervisors approved additional overtime. There are new recruitment incentives. I've been working with the command staff to help ensure that our academy graduation rates are high, so those that want to be officers are able to get the support they need. And I think a lot of it are long-term solutions, are rebuilding trust between law enforcement and the community. I think will be a long-term benefit to recruitment as people in the community will trust law enforcement. More members of the community will want to join the ranks of law enforcement. You
said the word community, and that's what we're all about here at CBS Bay Area. And I appreciate you coming on. You have done what I think is really important, and that is you came on and you had a conversation. No statements issued, no statements whether emailed or on Twitter. You came here and had a conversation, and we ask for more of that. Thank you for being a model to being able to have a conversation on live television about this. Thank you very, very much. San Francisco Police Commissioner Kevin Benedicto. So at this point, we have heard from Mayor London Breed and DA Brooke Jenkins on this case in statements and talking on Twitter. While we appreciate their words and their offers of condolences for the victim, those are just statements, and we want to invite them to come and have a conversation here like we just saw, like we had yesterday with Supervisor Dorsey. That's what we know you expect, real conversations about public safety, bringing everybody around the table to find ways to move forward. So we thank you for that. Hey, coming up at 5 o'clock, our Jose Martinez goes deeper. He goes right into that neighborhood where this story played out. He's talking to you, our neighbors, our community members, about how you feel. Do you feel safe? And he will have a live report with that.